Last time we broke out of a chicken farm. Well, this time, we're breaking in.
It's sad to say, but I didn't really enjoy Chicken Run 2 as much as I thought I would. Don't get me wrong, the amount of work put into this film was phenomenal. It was so nice to see an Aardman stop animation movie again. There were so many little details added to capture the essence of the original movie. I just personally feel that it didn't hit as hard as the first Chicken Run. The stakes didn't seem that high and there was some noticeable CGI in places. It was still a fun and creative movie, but unfortunately came up short. Let's have a look at some of the positives and negatives of this long-awaited sequel. Let's dive in. Chicken Run 2 continues on from its previous film, where Ginger and Rocky now live in a chicken paradise with the rest of the gang after escaping from Tweedy's farm. Ginger and Rocky are now parents and have a daughter called Molly. She becomes tired of the island and wants to explore the mainland after seeing an image of Funland Farms on a van. She escapes the island and meets Frizzle, who are both taken to the new farm. Molly soon discovers that this is actually a chicken nugget factory where Mrs. Tweedy is now hypnotizing chickens. Ginger, Rocky and the rest of the gang now have to break into the new and advanced chicken farm to save their daughter. Chicken Run 2 is no longer a nitty-gritty story showcasing serious topics of life and death, but instead focuses more on bravery and family love. The new story is a welcome addition to this beloved franchise, but the stakes are not as high like in the first Chicken Run. The first movie had several intense scenes, but was balanced out so well with both physical and verbal comedy, like when Babs didn't lay any eggs and we thought she was going to be sent to the chop room. We had already seen one chicken previously get slaughtered for not laying any eggs, so we really felt the weight of this problem. But in all of the seriousness of the situation, Babs makes a humorous comment which lightens the mood.
Double their food rations, Mr. Tweedy. I want them all as fat as this one.
Oh, my life flashed before my eyes. It was really boring.
There is so much tension in this scene, especially when you see Mrs. Tweedy's boots come onto the farm. You genuinely feel frightened for the characters and empathise with their situation. Whereas when you are first introduced to Mrs. Tweedy in the second movie, there's a scene of her walking down a long flight of stairs, but just doesn't have the same impact. It feels a bit drawn out and unnecessarily long to introduce this infamous character. They also introduce Mrs. Tweedy quite late into the movie, but do show flashbacks throughout to re-establish her influence and control she once had over the chickens. They were very effective, but when you finally see her in person, it just doesn't hit the same. They tried to mimic the original fear, but I unfortunately didn't feel it. Her new look really isn't threatening anymore, especially with the bright blue eyeshadow, eyeliner and tidy hairstyle. I think what made Mrs. Tweedy so memorable and menacing in the first Chicken Run was her messy look. I was genuinely terrified of her when I first saw her character. I didn't even realise she was still wearing blue eyeshadow in the first movie, as it was really toned down. I think the villain should have been utilised way more by introducing her and the hypnotised chicken plot much earlier in the movie. She's an iconic character, so it would have been nice to see more of her and to also find out what happened to her after the events of the first Chicken Run movie, as it's not mentioned. The entire colour palette has changed for Chicken Run 2, as the colours are much more brighter and more vivid. That's not at all a bad thing, but when you compare it to the original movie, the duller palette worked much better as it really added to the weight of the character's problems. But the new colourful palette also works really well, especially in the chicken factory. It does really feel eerie and make you think that something is off, as it just looked too perfect. I think if they used a slightly duller palette in certain areas of the movie, that would have worked nicely too, as it would have been a nice contrast from the real world to the chicken factory world. Another issue I had was unfortunately with the new voices. It might be because I've been a fan of the original Chicken Run for such a long time, but I found it to be quite noticeably different. The new voice actress for Ginger, Tandy Ray Newton, didn't feel as impactful as Julia Sawalia's take on the character. Julia had so much fight and determination in her voice, which I didn't really get from Newton's portrayal.
Something is wrong here. Can't you see that? Don't you see what's happening? They're fattening us up.
They're going to kill us all.
Listen, everyone. We can do this. We just need a really clever plan.
Even Rocky lost some of his original charm and charisma. This could be due to the new voice actor, Zachary Levi, or it may have been a storyline issue. Since the new story now focused on the daughter of Ginger and Rocky, it wasn't really necessary to focus on Rocky's character again, like in the first one.
You know, you're the first chick I ever met with the shell still on. Sleep tight, angel face. The rock's on the case.
I'm gonna go in there, and I'm gonna bust Molly out.
And just how the bloomin' heck are you going to do that?
Well, by, you know, going in there and then busting her out.
What I also noticed was that quite a lot of the jokes weren't as effective as last time. The first movie had so much charm and creatively witty jokes. There was always a great balance of humour whilst dealing with serious messages, but Chicken Run 2 didn't deliver the same memorable lines.
I don't want to be a pie. I don't like gravy.
What is it?
It's a pie machine, you idiot. Chickens go in, pies come out.
Ooh, what kind of pies?
Apple.
My favorite.
Chicken pies, you great lummox.
So laying eggs all your life and then getting plucked, stuffed and roasted is good enough for you, is it? It's a living.
Okay, everyone. It's go time.
It's all right. I went before we left.
Reckon she'll have us charging right into the fray.
I don't want to charge into any phrase. I'm frayphobic.
Despite a lot of changes, I really did enjoy the two added characters, Molly and Frizzle. They worked really well together and Frizzle's Scouse accent was a welcome addition to the movie. I think it would have been nice to have even more of her character as she was quite an interesting one. I also loved seeing the creative gadgets that were used to break into the chicken factory, as well as Rocky's silly little dance. Overall, I did enjoy parts of this movie and it was definitely nice to see the Chicken Run gang again after 23 years. The new storyline does try to capture some of the original magic by showing the dangers of the new and advanced chicken farm, but it still felt a bit flat. It couldn't capture the original spark of the first Chicken Run in my opinion. It was still a fun and entertaining movie, but I didn't feel it was a necessary sequel. Have you seen Chicken Run 2 yet? I'm sure there were lots of people who enjoyed the movie, so do let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment sections below. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.